Hey guys, PokkeCorp here, and this is gonna be a video regarding the Zenless Zone Zero 2.5 banner reruns. Now, as you guys have probably noticed, the version 2.5 schedule is a little bit different, with the rerun banners consistent of Alice, Soldier Zero, and Astra Yao. We do have some interesting characters as well as a little bit of how rerun banners actually work in Zenless Zone Zero, so do you even need to consider pulling for them in this particular scenario? So first things first, while it isn't really usually recommended to pull on rerun banners for most gacha games, this is gonna be a little bit different because the first 10 pull will have a 20% discount, and both your S rank and W-Engine will be guaranteed to be the limited one. So this 100% rate up would make it very interesting, because if you have missed these units and want to grab a copy of them, or especially if you want to get some vertical investments like some additional mindscapes, then this brand new rerun structure is actually very appealing. So in contrast, if you want to take a look at the HSR, for example, or in any 50-50 games, in any Hoyo games, on the general consensus, most players will get their first 5-star at roughly 77 to 78 pulls on average, right? Generally speaking, and including this rate for the 50-50s, then most players would be getting that rate up unit, generally speaking, at 110 pulls. So this 100% rate up as well as a 20% discount on the first 10 pull means that Zenless Zone Zero players who want to go for the rerun would able to get this value at roughly less than 70 pulls out of, in contrast to 110 pulls, making this a lot more resource efficient for your pulls in Zenless Zone Zero. Now, the 100% rate up is going to be shared amongst the 3 characters. After you trigger the 100% on the agent or W-Engine, then the rates will go back to the usual 50-50 or the 75-25 respectively. Now, do know that the 2.5 rerun banners, they share this different pity, while it is mentioned that it will carry over future banners of the same format. As of right now, we have no idea when this type of banner will happen again, so make sure to think twice before committing pulls into these reruns. Now, we will quickly go over each of these agents' recommended builds, teammates' performances, as well as in current endgame content, talking about their value in the current Zenless Zone Zero meta. And starting off, that is going to be Alice. Now, Alice released in version 2.1, and since her kit didn't really face too big of a change about her build and teams, let's just take a quick refresher as to what she actually does. So she is going to be a physical anomaly agent who specializes in dealing damage through her personal polarized assault, and by triggering disorders using a polarized assault, the regular assault, and a potential different anomaly triggered by her teammates. For the drive, this is going to be the 4-piece Fang Medal as well as 2-piece Phaeton's Melody. For the main stats, anomaly proficiency on this 4, physical damage or attack on this 5, and anomaly mastery on this 6. For the subsets, it will mainly focus on attack percentage and AP, then flat pen and flat attack. Now, do note the 2-piece Power Electro and pen ratio on slot 5 can be better if you do not have any sources of defense ignored in defense shred like Nicole, or some endgame buff cards or her own personal M1. For her W-Engine options, her W-Engine is still gonna be her best in slot signature, and the best free alternative is gonna be the Weeping Gemini. Her signature W-Engine is a very valuable upgrade over the free-to-play option due to the overall higher stats, but what makes it that good is gonna be the 60 anomaly mastery, which will allow you to stack on the anomaly a lot quicker compared to others, granting access to more assault procs in practice on top of giving Alice 96 AP for free. Jane's signature engine can be tempting as it's going to be obtainable for free in the W-Engine shop, but the cost of resources is way too expensive for it to be even an upgrade over Gemini, while making the gameplay a little bit restrictive as well. When it comes to her teammates, Alice is very straightforward. Her best team will always feature her best friend Yuzuha, and for the last slot, you have some various options available, being Nicole, Vivian, Bernice, Yanagi, Jane, Trigger, or even Zhao. Now, Nicole is going to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest option, and very comfortable to play with Alice compared to other teams. Alice is going to be able to disorder without any external help, and Nicole provides the most consistent damage amplification out of all other supports. Vivian, Yanagi, and the now buffed Bernice are also very strong, and especially shines when matching the enemy weakness. Now, at M0, Jane though is really solid, but the real highlight is her M2, making Alice a massive powerhouse. Trigger with her signature Lycon becomes a great amplifier at all times for Alice, and similar to Nicole, her bars can largely offset the lack of another anomaly agent. Now, surprisingly, Zhao can also act as a replacement if you need Nicole somewhere else and you're not already using her with Yeshingon. With regards to her vertical investment, while Alice at M0 performs pretty well in the content cater for her, it is definitely recommended to get a copy of the signature engine if you want it to be competitive with other premium DPSs. For now, she can make a way in some unfavorable content at M0, but due to the way HP inflation happens, it won't be long until she struggles outside of her show stages without any vertical investment. If you want to invest even beyond that, Alice happens to have a really strong M2, allowing her to proc a polarized assault with her ultimate on top of various damage increases. Her M1 by itself isn't outstanding, but it's still a decent damage increase to the teams overall, though it is recommended to go for the M2 all the way instead of stopping at M1. For her current endgame performance, this is gonna be some of the scores that we can see from this kit right here. While in the first daily assault phase of 2.5 has some Alice's favorite bosses, the Miasmic Fiend, both upcoming daily assaults do not really have any bosses for Alice. But regardless of the Defiler being fairly unfavorable for her despite the physical weakness, we still managed to get a 3-star clear pretty consistently even when both Alice and Yuzuha were missing a signature W-Engine. When it comes to Shiyu defense, once again Alice managed to get a very easy S rank for the remaining phases of 2.5. Now with that being said, even if Jane in the third phase is weak to Alice, enemies like Miasma Jane can be quite annoying due to very high mobility, making her potentially dodge Alice nuke as well as slowing her bait etiquette build up. So in closing thoughts, Alice is gonna be a very solid DPS agent for the normie department, but it should only be considered if you already have Yuzuha on your account, as without her, your performances will suffer quite a bit. Nonetheless, if you like Alice and you want to be even stronger, focus on getting her signature weapon if you don't have it, and if you want, getting an M2 can be even better vertical investment.
Anby, captain of Silver Squad.
Now moving on to SAnby or Soldier 0 Anby, this is gonna be rerunning for the first time since the release. After seeing 2 rounds of different buffs, she is now one of, if not the best DPS characters in the game, but the main issue is she can be very cost heavy to play in terms of vertical investments. Now SAnby is gonna be an electric attack agent whose gameplay focuses on applying marks on the enemies, using various skills, then consuming them with a special attack, with most of her damage being aftershocks. Her best 4-piece this set is going to be the Shadow Harmony, and the best 2-piece is generally Woodpecker Electro, but crit damage, a 10% or electric 2-piece can also work. For the main stats, crit rate or crit damage on this 4 depending on your needs, electric percent on this 5, as well as attack percent on this 6. For the subsets is the usual crit rate, crit damage, as well as a flat attack and flat pen. Pen ratio is not really worth it because SAnby does have access to defense ignore from her teammates. For the W-Engine, to no surprise, her best one is once again going to be a signature weapon. It offers an absolutely insane amount of crit damage, which is a stat that MB appreciates a lot, but when it comes to other options, that's where it's kind of tragic. There are some other options that are really decent, like Seed Signature, but a free-to-play engine is really lackluster on her. She can't really make use of Brimstone, Starlight Engine's passive isn't reliable, and that leaves us with Mercado Desire and his mediocre performances, but still ends up being her best free-to-play engine by default. When it comes to the best teammates, SAnby has a choice for quite a couple of different characters. First of all, you definitely want Trigger, which ideally your signature engine as most of the damage M comes from it. Then you can choose between Orphe and Seed, but then again, both of them being damage dealers means they will heavily appreciate the signature icons as well, with Orphe being more of a support and DPS, with Seed playing more like a dual DPS kind of team. Astra Yao or other supports like Paltrock, Caesar, or Nicole can also work as a replacement if you do not have the Oboe squad members, but don't expect these teams to perform nearly as well as the Oboe package. With regards to vertical investment, SAnby heavily benefits from her signature engine, so the very first thing you should consider is getting a copy of it. While this sentiment can be true for most agents in Zenless Zone Zero, especially for the DPS characters, SAnby and her teammates are heavily suffering from it because of the massive hole they have in terms of the free-to-play alternatives. On the good side, her signature is usually one of the best premium alternatives for most other attack agents, making it valuable by her engine by itself. When it comes to her Mindscapes, her M1 is a nice damage increase, but it's pretty tricky to play, while her M2 gives her a free 9 marks instead of 3 after using the ultimate. If you want to vertically invest, get her S1 first, and then you can consider getting either the E0 S1 or E2 all the way. But keep in mind, SAnby greatly benefits from the teammates before the vertical investments. With regards to the endgame performance, SAnby's performance is going to be able to get an easy 3-star clear in daily assault, but it is worth noting that having or not having a team's signature engine is absolutely massive, with SAnby and Trigger signature being the most important ones. In Shiyu defense, on the other hand, despite none of the stages shading for SAnby, she still managed to get very good scores with a full E0 S1 tips. While her team without any signature still managed to get an S rank just like in DA, it won't be long before it will struggle outside of a show content, so really consider investing in a team if you still want to see SAnby perform. So for closing thoughts, she is a very strong DPS agent in the current meta. By a low investment cost, she will not perform as well as other units compared to similar investments. If you really like her and you want to see her for a long period of time, getting the Signature Light Cone into the M2 is going to be a viable option. And last but not least, that is going to be Astra Yao. She was the first limited S rank support back in version 1.5 and never stopped showing how good and flexible of a unit she has been ever since the release. Despite this being a second rerun, she still remains one of the best supports your account could actually have to date. For her build, her general best 4-piece is still going to be Astro Voice, but version 2.2 added the support set Moonlight Lullaby, which can also be played on Astra, letting another teammate play Astra Voice instead, or end up being competitive with Astra Voice in some cases due to uptime consistency. The 2-piece can be a 2-piece energy regeneration or a 2-piece attack percent with energy regeneration preferred. For the main main stats, attack in 4 and 5, and depending on needs, use energy regeneration or attack in slot 6. As for subsets, you pretty much just go all in attack. Now keep in mind, to cap her buff, she needs 3, 4, 2, 9 initial attack, and this is the maximum, not a minimum. So if you're struggling to maintain a buff on damage dealers, consider sacrificing some attack for more energy regeneration. Now, before talking about the W-Engine options, let's just take a look at the team comps because she is really universal. Literally any DPS can be played with Astra, but the one niche where she will be less appreciated is going to be in the Rupture team, where the attack buff has much less value. She is technically best in slot for multiple agents like Evelyn, but even in teams where she isn't a premier choice like with Seed, Yeshun or other anomaly teams, she can still show herself to be a very promising support. While she isn't really best in slot for any meta agents right now, her being universal would hold value in the game because you do need to build 3 teams for endgame content, with one of the team definitely needing Astra Yao, very similar to Ramei's value in Honkai Star Rail. So talking about the W-Engine, technically her best is still going to be a signature, but she has a very competitive free option, and that's going to be Lucy's signature, Kaboom the Cannon. Her signature makes it a lot easier to buff the cap while providing decent buffs, but Lucy's W-Engine is so good that it doesn't really fall too much behind in terms of team damage amplification, and your pools will be better spent elsewhere. She has other good AN options as well like Bashful Demon and the Vault, but they both fall slightly behind in compared to Lucy's signature. So with regards to vertical investments, Astra at M0 is going to be really good on her own, but the M1 makes it a very attractive 18% rest down, which is going to be the buff that's less common than others, so this M1 will greatly improve your overall team damage as it's not going to be facing any dilution. With this M1, she actually becomes really competitive with other bans of support, keeping her a jack of all trades without losing too much value compared to the niche supports. Her M2 further amplifies the attack buff, but it's kind of an overkill and you will probably better off getting a whole ass character for DPS instead. So on the other hand, so now going on to the endgame performance, while Astra isn't really a DPS, we can still gauge the value of a vertical investment in the endgame modes. You can see how disappointing the increase is with a signature weapon, while her M1 proves to show a much more significant upgrade despite being diluted by Shunguan's signature. So in summary, Astra remains one of the premier support options available in the game due to being the best general support working with pretty much almost the entire game's roster. At M0 she's still really valuable, and at M1 she's going to be even stronger and lasting her time for a lot of different teams. That being said, this jack of all trades support can probably backfire because as the game progresses, more and more dedicated supports will be released, similar to Yuzua and Lucia for Anomaly and Rupture respectively, making Astra overall potentially less desirable, as you can see from what happened in Honkai Star Rail. Now before we come to the end, there is this one more thing which is going to be the Angel of Delusions banner. While this is not the main topic, we do want to quickly address the upcoming tease agents and how they might influence your pooling decisions. Based on what we know as of now, Suna as well as Aria will be released in 2.6 as our new support and anomaly agents. While we can already guess what kind of anomaly agents Aria will be thanks to the new disc using her own name, we can't really know what kind of support Suna will be. Luckily, we should be able to see what this unit will do during the live stream, and that should happen when the rerun banners are still running, so make sure to keep an eye on it before you make your rerun banner decisions. So that's pretty much all we have for today, and as you can see, the 2.5 rerun agents on top of the brand new rerun system in Zenless Zone Zero is really tempting. Keep in mind that the 100% rate up is only going to be for the first S-rank agent and W-Engine, and these banners will not share PD with the usual panel, so pool at your own risk. So with that, we've come to the end of today's content. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any comments down below. All the best by Gacha Pools, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.